Welcome to our town. Dorothy Thompson speaking to you today from near some plants. These are plants you don't have to worry about, but you might have to worry about the one we're going to tell you about. And now we'll hear from Andrew Sharp and Cam Cormican from about the summer theater production the Richland Area Performing Arts Group sponsored, and it's going to be Little Shop of Horrors.
Here we are at the beautiful auditorium in downtown Richland Center on Central Avenue, and we have the director and one of the cast members. The others will trickle in a little bit later, I hope. Cameron Cormican is the director of this summer's production of Little Shop of Horrors. Now, you had a bad experience at McDonald's just now, which has nothing to do with this. But
really mentioned
because that could really affect the outcome of the play if you have too many bad experiences at McDonald's. So anyways, who is this lady here?
This would be Faith Morga. She will be playing the female lead of Augury.
Hello.
Are you ready to go?
I'm excited, honestly.
Actually, you were. When was the cast announced?
The official announcement happened on Friday night.
And this is Sunday afternoon, the 25th. So tell us what this play is about.
So this is a dark comedy, very campy, about a plant that eats people.
Okay.
It's really, for those who know anything about classic literature, it's kind of a retelling of the story of Faust.
Okay, I'm familiar with it, but I kind of forgot key elements of.
Well, so Faust is about a man who makes a bargain with the devil.
Oh, yes.
And by all appearances, his life ends up this glorious. He ends up with fame, power, riches, but he ends up having to do more and more horrible, atrocious acts because he sells his soul. Mm-hmm. And in a manner of speaking, this is the same thing where a giant talking plant is the role of the devil.
Ah, okay. Now, who wrote this? I think it was the early 60s?
Yep. Originally, it was by one of the kings of the B movies, Roger Corman. He was just getting done with one of his many B movies. And somebody just made a catch remark. I bet you can't make a movie in 2 days for $60,000. And he said, hold my beverage. And then he did.
I think, is that the one Jack Nicholson was in?
Yeah, it was Jack Nicholson's first ever role. He was this very masochistic, crazy dental patient.
Oh, that wouldn't fit him at all.
But yeah, the movie was very B, that very B movie quality.
Was that 62 or 63?
61.
61.
And, yep, of all the movies in all the world that exist, that's definitely one of them.
Yep. Yep.
But then Howard Ashman and Menken, can't remember his first name, decided, we can expand this into this amazing Broadway musical in the late 70s, which then got turned into, obviously, the well-known movie in 86, starring Rick Moranis, Ellen Greene, Vince Gardenia.
Has the music changed on its way to becoming a movie?
Yes. And the show we're doing is going to be more, faithful to the Broadway show. There's a couple of songs that exist in the Broadway show that don't exist in the movie. Like the dentist character who is addicted to laughing gas. He has a song called It's Just the Gas.
Okay.
There's one song called The Meek Shall Inherit that only half of the songs in the movie, where Seymour has this whole mental soliloquy. My future's starting, it's time to let it, but then thinking about all the nasty, horrible things he has to do. And then also there's one kind of clever little thing halfway through Act 1 where the flower shop now is doing business and they're renovating it, and so they have a song about we're closed for renovations today.
All right. Now, I've got you said the 86 version on DVD, and I really need to watch that. But I wonder, have you ever seen the stage production
Yes.
on any level?
Yep. I've seen it in, just kind of local community theater.
Yeah.
A couple of different times. Plus, while I was preparing for directing this, I watched a few different versions on YouTube. YouTube has everything under the sun.
Yep.
So I've watched a couple of other local productions so I can be inspired by
Right.
certain staging. Because in theater, you have inspiration, you don't steal.
Well, right. You're inspired. You don't steal. You certainly don't steal. It'd be terrible. So there are mechanical. There's a plant on stage that grows.
Yep. It's a glorified puppet is what it is.
Is it?
But the puppet starts off where the head, the bulb part, we have it where it's about grapefruit size to start with. Then the second one, it's about like that. And we have those almost ready to go. Then the third one, which is when the plant starts to talk. Maybe I'm doing spoilers, giving away things. I don't know. But at that point, the plant will be like from the floor, probably about 3 feet tall, probably about 6, maybe 5, 6 feet long. And then the final plant, which will be into Act 2, is going to be, we're talking like at least a good 6 feet tall. The pod itself it's going to take up, it seems like half the stage. Oh, and talking about such, we have our
Well, it looks
plants.
like Michael Ames.
Yes,
That is true.
he is in charge of creating the puppets I was just talking about, and he's also providing the voice for the plant.
There's like a sitcom. You just happen to stop by, and then I'll add some
Come in
applause.
singing just like a sitcom.
So we're talking about the mechanical plant. I can't grow anything, and maybe I wouldn't want to grow that at home.
Probably not, but it did take grow lights, strangely enough. Well, I was using some UV resin for some of the final touches, and it requires the black light to cure. So for a while, it did look like I was growing something weird. And
So for the
in my
big
basement.
giant one, do I smell Amazon, or is this something that you can build?
Oh, no.
No,
These are all custom.
that was so insulting to you.
These are all custom. No, it wasn't insulting. They're all custom. We're doing them from scratch this time around, and at least Pod 1 and Pod 2 are like 60% recycled materials.
What are they made of?
Foam and plastic, and giant Easter eggs.
So these
Giant
came.
plastic Easter eggs.
Did these come from you watching up the play or the movie, or did it come from?
I watched a documentary on the making of the original Broadway plant,
Okay.
and then took some cues from. There were several different colleges that did it. There were several different high schools that did it. There were a couple different ways that you could go with the actual mechanism of the Pod 3 and Pod 4. Some of them were based on the performer. Some of them were based on, must have been directorial cues. And I know in Great Britain, they didn't use a Venus flytrap shape. They used a pitcher plant shape, and the people would have to go up a ladder and crawl down the chute. Yeah, strange. No, they're going to be all custom, and they're going to be mostly, the big two will be mostly plastic skeletal structure, fabric, paint, and a product called foam clay, which is moldable hand clay that then dries into a sandable, carvable, preset shape that is still kind of flexible for cosplay, for making masks and
Yeah.
helmets and things of that nature.
So you chose of all the insectivorous plants, you chose the fetus flytrap?
It's the most.
Well, it's more visual to me. I mean, obviously.
I was a big fan of the movie as a kid.
You watched that as a child?
I was 11 when it came out, and it was a
Okay.
Frank Oz movie. It was PG, so you bet I saw it in the theaters.
Okay.
Actually, I did too. But I'm a year younger than you, so I was only 10.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, it has a happier ending in the movie. They win.
oh, I did hear that there's something about them taking over the earth, the world. That's not happy.
That's the original, and maybe again I'm giving spoilers, but oh well. That's kind of how ours ends. But the funny part is, they did film that ending when they made it originally, and test audiences hated it.
You mean the non-musical or the?
No, the
No,
musical.
the Rick
Okay,
Moranis
okay,
musical,
okay.
1986, Frank Oz directed. Yeah.
Yep, they filmed it, and they burned half their budget on this expansive, epic, Audrey to like multiple Audrey 2s, and at that point they're like hundreds of feet tall.
King Kong sized.
Yep.
Yeah.
All around the world, at one point a full subway train gets gobbled up by a plant. It's crazy. They've released it since I've seen it. But audiences hated the fact that the plant wins and takes over the world, and so they, at great expense and at the very last minute, they redid the last, probably about 15 minutes of the movie.
12 something in the final cut, I think. Yeah. 12 minutes and something.
Although it was one of the very earliest CGIs when they redid it.
Oh,
Because anybody who's seen the movie version, Seymour ends up electrocuting the plant with some exposed wire, and it explodes, and the explosion is completely done on computer, which was very revolutionary at the time in 1986.
yeah. Does this plant have any kind of a attitude, or is it just like
Oh,
this?
yes. Oh, this
See,
plant
those are
is-
the worst kind of plants to have, is the attitude.
Oh, I know. I hate it when you get this beautiful plant and you like the look of it, and then it just, it just expects you to do everything for it.
Yeah. You'd think it would get its own water and its own food, but well, this did get its own food, I guess.
Eventually.
Eventually. Okay.
It's like a child.
So it's kind of like the audience will gradually grow, to dislike this plant.
Well, I think as soon as she shows her teeth, they probably won't like her. But they'll be sympathetic to her still until she literally makes Seymour go to the dark side, kind of.
Right. Because
But even the audience at that point probably will still be sympathetic to Seymour, but not the plant.
well, I don't know.
I love this
I don't
show.
know. I think I might disagree with you because the first murder is arguably deserved.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But they won't. But they'll start to not trust the plant at that point, I would think.
Oh,
But
yeah.
they'll still be sympathetic to Seymour. Yeah. For a while.
Has there ever been a production of this, do you think, that they planted, so to speak, plants in the audience and people would scream and have a plant on them? Or would that cause a stampede? Or is that kind of a really
I'm not
bad,
aware.
it's a really bad idea?
I'm not aware of that having ever happened.
The animatronics cost would be mind-boggling.
No, it would just be a inanimate wrapped around them. That's not going to happen with
Like a
your
vine
show
on the back of their seat that moved at the right moment.
or something. But they would be in on it.
I think that probably would be, possibly stroke or heart attack inducing for a few people. We're probably not going to do that.
Okay. Well, that's fine. It was just an idea. Anyway.
I like it.
But yeah, sure.
Yeah, we actually, when we were doing some production meetings, we were actually joking around with the idea of, so there's these kind of narrator girls who communicate the story to the audience through the
Yeah.
show. And at the very end, after the plant wins and everything, they have this whole song where they mention about the plant taking over, and then they say, they start mentioning, the plant's taking over Cleveland and New York and these places, and they finally go with, and this theater. We joked around with, maybe if we rigged up these plants that could fall from the ceiling.
Like the oxygen hoses in an airplane. Except
Yes.
they're vines.
Yes, but
They're talking about the high school.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah, there's no way to do it.
yeah.
actually, no.
that you're right.
There's
There's a couple-
catwalks.
There's a guy been-
catwalks
yes.
above the audience, but Andrew.
Yeah, but I'm going to have to be hiding in one of them.
But Andrew said no because you're talking about liability and lawsuits and
That legal mind.
Yeah, he does that. Well, I've been on that catwalk many times to video. That's not a fun ladder trip up there either. But it is, you are over
I've
some of the
seen a
heads of
ladder.
the, yeah. That's all you want to do is look at it though, because it's, yeah, anyways. Well, who else are we expecting this afternoon on this holiday
I'm
weekend?
hoping that Andrew and Glenn will be here.
2:07, we said 2.
Well,
I got here early. You guys were already going.
Yep.
yeah, well, I sent you a message, but you must not have seen it.
Well, that's now what should we talk
I
about?
was wood puttying.
Well, I think Faith has not had a whole lot of time to.
Well, okay, Faith, how about the songs? You have to sing a song or two or 5.
I'm comfortable with singing on stage. I love being on stage.
What have you been in?
Ooh, let's see. When I was in high school, I did 14 productions.
14. You mean you were in high school only for 4 years, right?
Well, so at North Crawford Middle School can be a part of the theater there, and my very
Oh,
first.
the North Crawford Theater Department. Oh, well. Yeah.
So my very first musical I got to do was Grease, which was awesome. I loved it. And then I did a few plays when I was here at Richland Center at the college. And then last year I joined Music Man, so.
Does anyone remember Ray Cradle?
Yeah.
He was big into the
We were in
theater there,
Showboat
too.
with him.
He was one of the hillbillies with you.
Yes, in Showboat.
Yeah.
Yep. I was. He was also the part of Candy when we did Of Mice and Men.
Okay.
I think a couple other things here and there, though.
Oh, Frankenstein.
Was we? Well, I wasn't even living in Richland Center yet during Frankenstein, so
Nor was I, not quite.
I did. I watched it because my mom was in it.
What? That was 2017.
That would have been a year after he graduated high school.
Well, I guess we were here already. Just barely.
Oh, I know the very first show that I was in was Anne of Green Gables. That's all I know.
And my first one was Showboat. So.
And you were just a flat out amazing Ravenel.
And that was spring of 19.
Yes.
Yes. It was.
Yes, it was. You were in Showboat. You weren't in Showboat.
Nope.
You were in Death of a Salesman
I
right
was in Death of a
afterwards, though.
Salesman, yes.
Yeah,
Because I had
But
just
that was a
graduated high
campus
school
production.
19.
See, they cross over. They blend together.
that was the show that proved how dangerous the classic theater phrase of break a leg can actually be.
Yes.
Because we said break a leg. We were saying break a leg to people, obviously. I was assistant director on that one. And we said break a leg on the not very last rehearsal, but the one before that. And we had a platform on the stage so that you had a differentiation between the Loman House and,
Yes.
other scenes. And at one point during that rehearsal, Andrew stepped off of the platform wrong, and he actually did have, I think, a hairline fracture in his
Did
ankle or
break his
something.
leg, yeah.
We said break a leg, and he broke his leg.
I was in the audience with the camera wanting to video something, but it was so dark that I just saw this figure go clunk onto the floor. Louise Murphy fell off too, and if you know Louise, she wasn't real pleased with that. So then they turned some lights on, and so it was a better day.
Yeah, well, Louise, like that was.
She did amazing in that play.
Well, I think
She's
could've-
always good.
She could have. I've not seen her in much other shows, but if that shows any indication, as far as I'm concerned, she could just about be professional. She was amazing. I never saw it, but I heard she did really well, whatever it was, 12, 15 years ago when they did Annie, when she played Miss Hannigan.
Yep. And that's a difficult part, the dance, whatever the song is.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to
auditioned
dance
for
this
that.
time. You did.
I did. I had auditioned for Annie. Said I didn't get part of it, but that's okay.
Well, wait, you had to have been what, about like 5 at the time or something?
I was 7.
She's a prodigy. So you tried out for Annie.
I did. Yeah. My mom and I both did it. We came and auditioned together.
That's awesome.
But you didn't get it.
Nope.
Did you throw a fit?
No, I wasn't really sad.
Well, all I know is I've been seeing and performing with Faith in so many different productions where she gets these little parts. And I mean, in theater, there's no little part per
Right.
se. Everything's important. But that was, I've always thought Faith has a good voice. Faith, takes direction well, everything. And I've been thinking about the whole time. I really wish I could see Faith in a bigger role. And so, well, I'm the director and I get to do that.
Here we are.
So there you did it.
Yep.
And I get to sit in a chair. My dream role.
You spend the whole time in a chair?
Yeah, I'll pretty much be.
Wait, who are you again?
I'm the voice of the plant
Oh, so you're just off stage.
on a microphone.
Okay.
With an earpiece.
So you could
And a
be
monitor or within visible sight of the puppets.
you could be eating your McDonald's and just between
Well, I sure hope
mouthfuls
not.
just say.
Well, I think you'd hear that.
God, McDonald's is like the theme of the day now.
Well, they'll think that the plant is chomping on something.
I might be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it said that Mel Blanc was actually chomping on a carrot when he was doing the voice of Bugs Bunny, so.
Why not? Yeah.
Which is funny because Mel Blanc's actually allergic to carrots.
Well, that sounds like a dangerous thing. You should have
Well,
chose
rabbits
celery.
shouldn't be eating carrots either. Did you know that? Rabbits should not be eating carrots.
I did not know that.
Oh boy, you'll have to look
Yeah,
that up.
apparently he would take bites out of the carrots and then spit it out and not swallow.
Just following the stereotypes.
So, Michael,
Carrots.
you are the voice, but you sing too.
Well, the voice sings.
Yeah.
Yes. The voice of the plant has, let's see, 2 songs and 2 reprises. Is that right?
Yeah, Feed Me, you've got Supper Time.
Then you got a supper time reprise.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Well, I haven't looked at our script because sometimes the stage scripts have Mean Green Mother in it, sometimes they don't.
Does it? Where's-
I hope.
Why are you here?
It's because all the musical numbers.
Oh, sorry. I was like, what's going on?
I don't see Mean Green
No,
Mother.
Mean Green Mother.
Oh well, I would have liked to see it, but
Well, you can still do it.
no.
Only if we ask permission and get
Yep.
permission.
When
Oh,
you're
I thought
dealing
you
with
could.
this stuff,
Oh, you can't add anything. You can subtract without permission.
I'm not even sure if you can subtract.
Or you could take us.
Because if you are crunched for time or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
They just don't like you writing new materials for some
I have
reason.
I have no
Deletions.
desire to subtract anything. I can tell you that much.
Well, how long is it? About 2.5 hours?
No. Like every single video I've watched online tends to hover between an hour and 30 and an hour 40.
Yeah, hour and 45 maximum.
Probably.
Without intermission.
So
But
I
we
mean,
will have an intermission.
Is this written with one intermission?
yes,
Okay.
which is kind of necessary if
There's
you
a
think
big
about
scene
it.
change.
Well, it's not even a big scene change.
Well,
it's just a
Time
plant change
consuming
because
scene change.
it's going to be a bit of a thing to pull off the third Audrey 2 plant and replace it with the fourth one.
Okay.
And the puppeteer is going to have a lot of sitting in the plant waiting.
Oh.
I will make it very comfortable.
Put a recliner in there or something, and a TV? How does that work?
Well, you're sitting on the throne of Pod 3.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. It was
It's from my
It was
house.
just here. And
Yeah, no, I mean, it's supposed to be here. It's going to stay here. It's part of Pod 3. So, yeah, I'm going to make it a little bit more comfortable on the performers than the standard engineered build that is in the book. And, yeah, it's going to be a little more tent-like of an interior structure. So therefore lighter weight and easier for the puppeteer to actually get the lip sync, because I've seen some of the heavier ones that they are trying to be manipulated by a puppeteer and the result is less than awesome.
yeah.
And I
Were they
think this-
over-engineered?
No, it's just a lot of them, when the companies do them, they'll use heavier materials than the standard lightweight materials that a Broadway theater company would use or that a movie company would use, and therefore they get a puppet that's a little bit heavy to manipulate if you're not someone who's thin but yet extremely athletic.
Oh.
And
They
that's a
focus-
hard sell to find a puppeteer who fits that category.
They focus entirely on appearance without, practicality.
You're right, and I'm all about practicality and appearance, because I originally was trying to make these work for me.
So
And that would be tricky if they weighed too much.
it looks
or
like
if I
you're.
needed more height, which I don't have.
You don't?
No,
Oh.
no, I lost it in middle school.
Well, you didn't have to. We don't have to talk about that.
No, we
If it's a sensitive.
The
Okay.
amazing shrinking Mike.
Hey, now.
I've lost 2 inches since 20.
I'm going to change the subject because this is getting kind of. I see the chairs are here, so you're at the point where you're just still doing reads.
Well, we haven't even gotten to that point yet. The only thing we've done is auditions. Well, you don't even necessarily know this. On Tuesday, I'm going to be doing a kind of a get to know you session and theater bonding session with the cast. Rather than jumping right into read through, I'm going to have it where everyone's going to assemble and not even worrying about the script, not worry about any of that. I'm going to have the chairs all in a circle, and we're going to do, introducing each other. We're gonna play some theater games, and it's going to be all about
Hand out scripts.
hand out scripts. It's going to be all about the fun, and that way, because I want this to be as enjoyable and fun of an experience for everybody involved as possible. Especially because I know myself, and when it starts getting like the last couple of weeks towards showtime, I may be getting a little short-tempered and yelling at people, but I don't want to do that.
No, and the theater being in a play should be enjoyable because if you're miserable, what's the point? But there's a difference between enjoyable and just screwing around.
Oh yeah,
Well,
Which
I
the
mean, in
director
end, It's
doesn't.
kind of a job.
yeah.
At least it is for me, because I went to college for it.
Well. Are you going to be? I went to college for it. You didn't.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm
Okay.
saying I at least should take it seriously because
Well, yeah.
I have been doing it since I was like 10.
Directors don't like goofing around. And don't touch a prop on that table unless it's.
Oh, I'm going to be most likely to tell a joke also, though, when it's inappropriate, probably. Not the joke, the timing.
Oh,
Yeah, but actually, that's a pretty standard rule, though. Not jokes, but like in theater, if it is not your prop,
like
it is, you do not touch it. You don't put a fingernail on it.
not a finger, not a. Well, I've heard of real stories with this troupe where somebody over the years has run off stage to the table to get the gun, whatever, and it's gone, and someone's playing with it down the hall. That wasn't. It was. That was lovely. Somebody got yelled at. It was very sad.
I remember a number of times of people yelling because
Usually Louise.
I didn't
props aren't
want
where they're
to
supposed
because she
to
was
be.
the property master.
And it makes sense because I mean, you think about it. There are times where, well, like I remember when we did Gilligan's Island, I had to exit off this side, and I had just enough time before the cave scene to, quiet. Couldn't run because you had to be quiet, but running around the back part of the stage, grab my lantern while I'm walking, and I would be on the other side just in time to be ready to go on for the cave scene. And if that lantern wasn't exactly where, like almost down to the inch where it was supposed to be, I would have been lost. So it's not just a reason to yell at people. It is absolutely critical that those props are where they need to be.
Don't touch the props.
I hate them.
And
I'm a prop master.
You're touching
I hope
quite
I
a
get to
bit.
touch
Yes,
them.
you're touching a lot of it.
And I didn't realize that you were going to be here filming, or I would have brought Pod 1 and Pod 2 because they're practically
Well, I'll be back.
functional.
I can be back next week too.
Right now, one's in the repair shop.
Okay. Well, this is going to be an ongoing series until. Well, when are you going to go to the high school?
I believe the high school is going to be
1st of July.
1st of July. I want to say is when we're going to be transitioning from this theater to the high school
Oh,
theater.
by the way, I'm gone on the 1st of July.
Okay.
That's a Tuesday.
I'll try to account for that in scheduling.
I'll send you a message.
So that doesn't
It's gonna
give
be hard
you, what, 3.5 weeks out there?
Something like that.
Yeah.
When do you open the last Friday of July?
Last Friday of July.
So you got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then the next Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Next-
Sundays would be 2 p.m.
Yes.
Most of the big pieces will be practically done here and just be transported over there, and then it'll be pieced together like a jigsaw puzzle.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, okay, it is 2:23 and nobody else showed up.
So I guess you are going to have to come back.
Oh, I will. But is this any indication of showing up for rehearsals? We don't want to name
No, this
who
is-
didn't
no.
show up.
Well, this was just a little bit of
Impromptu,
yeah.
casual,
Yeah.
It's the
something.
first general production meeting.
Okay. Well, that's about it. I'm gonna leave now.
We don't want you here anyway.
Why no? Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, 1/5 of the cast.
This is like 1/6 of the 1/7 of the production crew. Yes.
Something like that. I know that after casting the show,
Yeah,
I
there's
counted it
20
with
less
16 people in
functioning
the
here.
cast.
It
So
may say 8 people, but it's like 20 plus.
16.
We're not there yet.
No, it's 16 people.
Okay.
It is.
And so the arguing has already begun. All right, I better stop. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for joining us today. We hope you'll come back and check out what's going on around Richland Center with us often. Bye.